Hey team, today we're going to be talking about self-care, what it is, and why we need to take care of ourselves. Self-care is something that I learned about while I was in grad school studying psychology. Because of how intense the profession can get, we were encouraged to seek ways of de-stressing. This isn't only limited to the psychological profession, but also to the medical profession and basically anything. It is something that I usually bring up to my cousin who's a doctor. Are you taking care of yourself? What is your self-care routine? When it comes to creatives, self-care isn't any different. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you? I mean, it's as simple as that. Self-care is a set of behaviors or routines that lead to the continued betterment of oneself. How this applies to creatives and artists is that we can ignore ourselves while we are in the throes of a good project or when we are in the flow. I know that I've done that many times where I was so into what I'm doing, I forget about the outside world. And these stretches can be good, but you gotta have healthy boundaries with your work, especially if you don't have a structured routine or schedule. Work and play can blend together in a way that makes it difficult to do things that allow us to relax. As artists, there must be a clear distinction between what constitutes work and what constitutes relaxation. Learning to relax in itself is its own job. Self-care is how you show love to yourself and also love to the work you're doing. As a filmmaker and a writer, I make sure that I have a fixed schedule. I work till evening and then the evening is mine. I rarely take meetings at night. I don't allow whatever I'm doing work-wise to bleed into the evening. And to exercise self-care, you gotta figure out what you like doing. What relaxes you? For me, after really stressful projects, I take a nice warm bubble bath. I usually do this after long hikes too, but mostly after I've wrapped up on a shoot. I'll jump into the bath with some relaxing music and just chill out. On a day-to-day basis, what I do for self-care is I go for a long walk. During my walk, I can take some time to lightly think about whatever I'm currently working on. However, I also know myself. Sometimes I can overthink things, so I'm quite good about saying, okay, it's okay, I've given enough time to think about this. So I usually have a good podcast handy. This allows me to focus on something else. I find topics that I'm curious about, sometimes topics that I know nothing about. This helps me take my mind off whatever I'm doing and refocus it on something else. For me, this is really important. Exercise. Please do not underestimate the potency of a regular and efficient exercise routine. People think self-care is all about candles and meditation and the instrumental versions of all our favorite songs, but self-care is also doing the hard stuff. Working out your body is as important as working out your mind. There's something about the connection with your body through exercise that takes your mind off work. Also, you have to take care of your spacesuit, your body. If you're sick, you can't work, which is not great. So exercise. And to add to that, get regular checkups. Make sure that everything is running smoothly, or at least running. Burnout. You ever been working on a project that you're so interested in and you're so deep into what you're doing that everything else fades away? But then you come back to the real world and you realize you're super depleted, resentful, anxious. This is burnout. Burnout is when you've pushed yourself so far that you can't even be creative anymore. I mean, this happens to the best of us. It happened to me during the post-production of my second film. I was putting so much creative and mental energy into finishing it that I crashed. I hated the project. I hated the people I was working with. Some warranted, some not. And I just wanted it all to end. And in those moments, you can get sloppy. You can overlook errors in your work that you wouldn't ordinarily overlook. You say, whatever gets it done. I'm done with this. You begin to lose sight of the vision. And honestly, here in Ghana, it's not easy to keep that going with all the barriers and obstacles that are in the way of artists and creatives. I didn't have the support of my own system, but once I realized I was burning out, I stopped. I took a break. I went out of Accra. I found something that allowed me to focus my time and energy on it so that I can give my mind a break from this huge creative boulder. Self-awareness is also really important. Being self-aware is necessary for identifying when you're approaching burnout. There are the telltale signs: frustration, anger, sometimes even a lack of sleep. But you need to cultivate a healthy sense of self-awareness so that you can tell when you're exhibiting these traits. Or you're really lucky and you have close friends and family who know you well and love you and that you trust. They can tell you when you are approaching burnout. However, if you have a good self-care routine, you should be able to figure this out for yourself. Ideally, self-care is something that you do on a day-to-day basis. And there are many different types of self-care. So we've already talked about some of the types of self-care, and I'll bring them up again. Physical self-care. This includes, as I have mentioned, exercise, but it also includes eating right, getting good sleep, drinking enough water, getting enough sunlight, all this kind of stuff. Mental self-care. This is about how we take care of our mind. These can be setting intentional goals, reading a self-help book, journaling, positive thinking, taking a social media detox. Trust me, it's needed. Emotional self-care. Obviously, this has to do with your emotional well-being. People have this perception that artists are emotional or sensitive. Now, this may or may not be true. Either way, understanding your emotional self can lead to self-acceptance. Examples of this can be setting healthy boundaries to protect your energy, speaking to someone you trust, practicing self-love, asking for help, spending time with yourself. Environmental self-care. Where do you work? Is it cluttered? Is it organized? Do you have a lot of distractions? Where we live/work is really reflective about how we work, and it is important to know how to organize yourself. In the computer age, having all your files marked by date and subject makes it easier to find what you're looking for when you need it. Some examples of environmental self-care are making your bed every morning, traveling for a change of scenery, tidying your workspace, finding a new place to work. Financial self-care. This is one I'm sure a lot of us struggle with. Oh, I can afford that burger. Don't I deserve it? Or, I can't start working until I have that new $50 billion camera. Seriously, you can't. The idea of having a healthy relationship with money, I feel, ties into the mental self-care. It gives you peace of mind to focus on what you're working on. You can invest in your future, set financial goals for the year, track your finances, save money each month. Social self-care. So social self-care is about your personal and professional relationships. Are they healthy? Are you working for people who say they're going to pay you on Monday and then never show up? That, unfortunately, is something that happens a lot here in Ghana, which is super unhealthy. Conversely, are you spending time with your friends? Or are you the one giving excuses about how you're too busy and then end up binging the next addictive series on Netflix? So ways you can improve your social self-care is create new friendships with people. Stay connected with the important people in your life. Hang out with your friends, limit time with negative people, set healthy boundaries, cut off toxic relationships. Our support systems are integral for helping us bounce back from failures. People, please do not underestimate the importance of this form of self-care. Recreational self-care, play. You gotta play with yourself. No, not like that. But we gotta have fun. This means taking time out to do something fun and possibly random. Travel with some friends or by yourself. Go to the spa. Yes, guys, it's time to get pampered. Let your lady friends show you how. Binge that new Netflix show. Yes, it can be good too. Do a puzzle, go to a bar with some friends, spend time in nature, play video games. Spiritual self-care. Now, this is all about your connection to your higher self, your soul or God, whatever you want to call it. I feel like creativity is how you connect with something that's outside of yourself. It's magical. Tapping into this can help you couple your creativity with something divine. It creates purpose, which is essential. You can meditate, go to a place of worship, spend time in nature, self-reflect, etc. Taking care of yourself is a full-time job. I don't want you to get the idea this is a tedious distraction that you have to do. No. Self-care should be built into the fundamentals of being a creative, especially here in Ghana where there's so much working against us. We gotta take care of ourselves. I mean, if you don't, who will? Thank you for listening to my YouTube. This is the first of many videos that I'm gonna do concerning mental health, creativity, mindfulness. Please like and subscribe. If you like what you've seen, share it. If you have any suggestions to improve this channel, please let me know. Send me a message, type something in the comments. Anything that you feel that you think I can develop, work on, please let me know. And I really appreciate you listening. And I really hope that this helps you in some way. Thank you very much.